What's good, everybody? It's your brother Mad Black, the most dangerous and the most toxic black man on the internet, and I am black up in your face again with some more pro-black commentary. In my last video where I talked about these Democratic shills who just automatically have thrown all their support behind Kamala Harris, I mentioned that there are so many of them that are black males and they blindly follow this woman. But when it came time to pick a mate, Kamala Harris did not choose a black man. In fact, she got herself a white Jewish man to be her husband. Now, it was okay to use black men when she was on the come up, right? It was okay for black men to give her positions and put her in different positions. You know what I'm saying? If you get my drift, in order for her political career to grow, right? But when she reached the top and she had decided that she wanted to get married, she made sure that she got herself a man that was not black. So that's why it's always very interesting to me that so many black males have run to her defense, because I know if the gender roles were reversed, if this were a pseudo black male candidate and he had a white wife, you would not see the support from black women going towards him. You know, I've always said that even about Barack Obama. Had Barack Obama been with or married to some of the women that he used to date before he ever met Michelle, because Michelle was the very first black woman he ever dated, if he was still with those white girls that he really likes, he would not have gotten the support from the black community that he gets now. Michelle Obama helped give him credibility within the black community, right? So it's very interesting when I see Kamala get all the support from black men when she only used black men as basically a stepping stone to get where she wants to get. And I thought it was time that we might take a look at Kamala's husband, Doug Emhoff, because, you know, there's been so much rhetoric and so much media hype behind him, making him seem as if he is the greatest husband ever, right? They're making him seem as if he is the best man because he's going to be the first gentleman and he's, a male feminist and he's a powerful man who's okay with his wife taking the lead or his wife getting all the spotlight. So he's just like the ultimate male, right? This is the type of male that women praise, or modern women here in the United States, that the ones that they praise and the kind of man that they want to be their husband, right? But when you look into his past, and even in some of these more recent accusations, you see that Doug Emhoff is probably not the type of man that you would want to marry or be with, right? And, when I talk about this guy, I don't want anyone to think I'm playing favorites, because I did a video on my old channel where I talked about Melania Trump when she was the first lady. So when she was the first lady and Trump was still in office, I did a video talking about how Melania Trump started out as a sex worker. She was one of these mail order escorts that was brought over here, and she eventually got with Trump. And we all know Donald Trump loves hoes, right? He got into legal trouble because he was paying off some hoes with his presidential money, right? So we know what types of females he likes, right? And I did a whole video talking about that, how, she has pornography out there and everything else and nude pictures. And she was basically a high paid hoe. And now she's the first lady. So I think it's fair for me to now talk about Doug Emhoff, since he is in the run to be the first gentleman, quote unquote, as they call it, right? And it's come to light very recently that Doug Emhoff is an abusive person, or he's at least been accused of being physically abusive, because a young lady who has decided to put her story out there has said that when she was dating Doug Emhoff. This was back in 2012 at the Cannes Film Festival. Doug Emhoff smacked her upside the head. That's right. Doug Emhoff went oops upside a young lady's head, and she was just spun around and flabbergasted by this attack, right? And she has said that she doesn't like the fact that everyone is trying to portray Doug as this great guy, this great husband, this great mate, and this upstanding man, when the real Doug that she knows is thuggish, ruggish Doug. She knows the thug side of him. He likes to lay the smack down on his females, right? So let me explain to you exactly what happened in this case. Or at least this is what the lady alleges as to why Doug went oops upside her head. So they were at the Cannes Film Festival, and they were waiting to get a cab, and somehow they got split up, right? So she was, taking some money out of her purse, and she was trying to talk to the valet there and trying to get him to, put her in the front of the taxi line. So they're waiting for a taxi or in a cab, and she was giving some extra money to the valet to help her maybe get a cab sooner than everybody else, right? Typical rich bitch type behavior. And, when she's doing this, she's trying to hand this guy some money, and then all of a sudden she hears boom, 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 boom. It's the thuggish, ruggish Doug. And before she could even start rapping the first verse, Doug Emhoff slapped all the taste out of her mouth, right? So she says that apparently he thought that she was flirting with the valet and that she was, I guess, trying to give him her number. So instead of asking what's going on, or hey, what you doing here, or hey, why are you talking to my lady, or even fighting the man, Doug runs up and slaps the female, right? And apparently they got into the cab and they were arguing and fighting and fussing in the cab, kind of like that scene out of What's Love Got to Do with It. And then, I guess everything calmed down, but she decided that she didn't want to see Doug anymore because she saw his violent side, right? And she still contends. And, I'm surprised that this was at the Cannes Film Festival and there's no footage of this. There should be. 2012 Cannes Film Festival, there's cameras everywhere, both video and still images everywhere. So I'm wondering how in the hell this never came up. But apparently there are witnesses who saw this amazing smack from Pimp Daddy Doug Emhoff, right? So, that's what she is saying, is that's the kind of man that Doug Emhoff is. And, he hasn't really so much, well, I guess he's somewhat denied it now, but at first he wasn't really denying it. He was just saying that this is all a distraction to distract you from electing my new wife, Kamala Harris. So he was basically trying to dodge that question about the smack and making it seem as if, this is all just some elaborate plot to distract away from what Kamala Harris has going on. So that's the type of man that Doug is. And if that's not bad enough for you, just know, for especially you divestors out there that think white males take their relationships more seriously, or white males are more mature about their relationships, Doug Emhoff got his nanny pregnant. Yeah. So when he was married the first time, the reason that he got divorced from his first wife is because he was messing around with the kid's nanny and he got the nanny pregnant. So that's how Doug does things. Doug goes all the way raw in his house servants and the people that work for him, right? So this is a man that has no discipline, that has no self-control, does not see any line or anything improper or any type of divide between someone who works for you or someone who works with your children and, sexual relations. So he went up raw in the nanny and got her pregnant. And he's admitted to this at the very least. He hasn't tried to hide this. I mean, you really can't. But he's let everyone know that he's a changed man now, and that he's sorry and he regrets his behavior from back then. And I guess he would never, never, ever, ever cheat on Kamala Harris. I guess she's just putting it on him that good. You see how well she moves in all those dancing videos she does. So I guess she's giving him some of that hot curry backside, and he just can't resist that. I guess I don't know. I think it's their relationship is a relationship of convenience, and it's more of a business relationship. He's going to give her. He's basically giving her a family since she never had any children of her own. It's funny how she always talks about uh, families and children, and everyone talks about how she's like our mamas, but she's never had any children of her own, right? But Doug Emhoff provides her with a family because he had a ready-made family, basically, and she came to be with that family, even though the kids are all older now. And he helps her to create this family type image for her, right? And so he gives her the family image, and she helps him get into these higher places and knock off some more young hoes. Probably that's my conjecture. That's my opinion of what's probably going on there. I'm thinking Doug is helping out her image and making her seem more human by having a family, and he gets to have as many young hoes as he can grab in these different social circles that he gets to be in with Kamala Harris. That's my opinion, right? So, I mean, you folks can let me know what you think about Doug Emhoff and how you have a person out here who is being portrayed once again as this is the type of man you should be. I talked about this in my video about P. Diddy, where everyone kind of pushed him as the type of black man you should be. But now they're pushing Doug Emhoff as this is the type of man that every man should be, right? And this is a man who abuses women when he is simping and just can't fathom the idea that his girl might be talking to somebody else. And this is also a man who has no self-control and is having affairs and sleeping with his hired help. I guess he's the perfect type of a white man to be in the White House because the White House has a legacy of white males who can't keep it in their pants and love sexually abusing the help. So anyway, you guys let me know how you feel about it in the comments section. I'd love to hear your opinions on this. Anyway, Mad Black, and I will be back on my foot on the devil's back.